Today, we're going to be putting a snorkel on a Mini Cooper. Just kidding. 94 80 series Toyota Land Cruiser. Here is the snorkel itself. I got it off eBay. It was under $100, came with free shipping. Seems to be well made. Comes with the ram air head. Also comes with all the hardware needed to mount it correctly to the truck, including the tube here to connect the snorkel with your existing air cleaner. I did have to go buy a 3 5/8 inch hole saw. I went a little bigger, give me a little play. It's still going to be fine as far as being covered by the snorkel. I laid it up against the tube itself that's going into the fender, and it looked like it's going to work pretty good. This template I already know that did come with it is wrong. The holes do not line up correctly, so I'm still going to use it. We're going to have to modify it to make sure we get it correct on the truck. Alright, so the snorkel's going to go here. Got fresh, clean paint. We're about to mess up. It's okay. I've got the dual battery set up here, so I'm probably going to remove the SLE water bottle relocation bracket so I can get to a hole back there that I believe I'm going to need to get some of these bolts into the snorkel. This is where the rubber hose that came with the snorkel kit is going to connect to your existing air cleaner here. So I'm going to remove the air cleaner just to give me more room, and I think it's also going to be necessary to attach it. So to remove the air cleaner, unhook the top, disconnect it from the hose. There are 3 bolts holding the air cleaner in. That's one. The other one's over here. And the third one in my instance is right there. Also connecting one side of the water bottle relocation bracket. In order to get that off, I'm also going to take off these 2 bolts right there. Also taking off the turn signal, which is easy. Just that screw right there, and then you'll have full access, as you can see, up into the fender well, so you can get the bolts on and everything else out. Okay, air cleaner is out. The water bottle is out. I've got access to this hole to get into the fender to put the nuts on for the new snorkel. Also got all the factory air channeling devices out of there. So those came out. There are 2 little screws there that hold on one side, and there's one screw right there. Excuse me, nut comes off. So this is the factory setup. This is inside your fender. So this comes off. I slide this out of the way in the fender. This pulls out. Then you can fish this back out, and that comes out of the hole like that. Okay, I spent about a half hour with that useless template. In this particular application, I suggest you throw that away. So what I've done is I've taken the snorkel and I think the technical term would be eyeballed it up there, paying attention to this crease right here that I've drawn, with this crease right here that's going to have to match up. So what I've done is just old school measuring. Found the distance from the center here. It's about 1 5/8. Distance from the bottom down here, about 1 1/4 inches. Distance from there, about 3 1/4. Transferred those measurements to here, 2 7/8, to find my center mark there for the center of the hole saw. So I'm going to focus on that, disregard pretty much everything else around that. Just to make sure, I've measured the distance from the top right here, following down to about the center of here was 31 to 31 1/2. Again, this is all not super precise, but doing the best I can. So that angle is going to come down here, follow that line to here. So I have some base marks I can go for. I'm just going to have to cut the hole, see what happens. I can always move it, make it bigger, as long as it's still covered by the surrounding snorkel. So I'm going to cut the hole and we'll see what happens. Alright, drilled the hole with the 3 5/8 inch hole saw. Worked very well. Went through there pretty quickly and made a very clean hole. So I test fit. Okay, got a little bit of room to play around with there, but the crease matches up. Okay, just looking, move that. I've got some adjustment, but that all looks even. I can play around with this a little bit. And the crease matches up back here too. So, proper measuring seems to work. Alright, now I'm going to try to figure the holes out, drill those next, and then work on mounting this bracket that holds the top of the snorkel up. Alright, I've come back to the template to put these holes in here for mounting. Now these holes on the template that came with it did not line up, so I've had to adjust the holes, especially these two in the back. I've attached this to the back of the snorkel, made sure the holes were right, went ahead and traced out when I knew where the holes were. This is the top of the snorkel. So I put the snorkel back on here with tape facing the truck. Position the snorkel where the bracket hits the side of the bracket. It's going to hit right up about right here on this side of the window seal. And held it in place, making sure that pattern lined up with the top of the snorkel, which would tell me that this lined up on the back of the snorkel. Went ahead and pressed down the tape on either ends, removed the snorkel, left the template in place, and I've traced my holes. So we're going to drill those. I'm going to drill them slightly bigger because we have some giant fender washers we're going to use that will more than adequately fill that hole. Making the holes a little bigger leaves me room for adjustment. Alright, I've got my holes drilled for the bolts to go through. And I've already test fitted. I did have to waller it out a little bit with my file. So some of the holes were really close but a little tight. So I had to make them a little bigger to have these go through there. One thing I found on this, all these go in with an Allen. I put some thread lock 242 on there. This particular one right here, as you can see, not the same size. That is a mistake, a little quality control error. But I have a lot of hardware sitting around, so I found that. That should work fine, and luckily it is over here by a very accessible location, so I'll be able to fix that problem. But unfortunate, that shouldn't be like that. Alright, in order to mount this bracket to the pillar, what I've decided to do so that it stays in the space where I want it, I've taken some double-sided 3M automotive tape and I've taped it to the bracket there. I've already put it on the truck and adjusted this bracket. It has a slight angle to it to match up there. So I'm going to mount it onto the truck and stick it where I want it, unscrew it, and the bracket should stay exactly where it is supposed to be. So I'm going to try to do this and hold the camera at the same time. Alright. Also feel that when I drill holes for rivets, this is going to help seal everything. If I can get the tape off. Alright, there we start. Okay. Tape's off. Okay. That is where it's supposed to be. And it's already sticking. I want that right there. I'll press it in place. Hold it for a few minutes. Okay. The theory is when you take it off or on, or for finished mounting, this bracket should be exactly where it's supposed to be. Okay, screws are out of that. Should be able to remove this now. The bracket is where it is supposed to be. Okay. I've taken black Rust-Oleum and touched up the raw metal areas to help prevent it from rusting. The bracket is now been secured by the rivets. It is not going anywhere. I did use RTV in the holes, and then I hit the top of the rivet heads with some RTV just to make sure that there's no water intrusion into the channel, into the cab. So next step is to mount it up and affix the nuts. All right, here's another trick. These fender washers are a little hard to reach your hand in to the fender well, hold that washer at an angle, and put that on at the same time. So take some 3M double-sided tape, put it on the washer. You can go in there, reach your hand in there, push it on to the stud, and it'll stay there. This also will help protect the raw edges on the inside of the fender from corrosion, kind of seal things up a little bit. Okay, everything is mounted up. Everything looks pretty good in the front. Back, relatively even with the column there. It bolted right up. The door clears everything. No problems there. The back lines up with the crease right there. It is solid, not coming off. So now we're ready to put the air cleaner back in. Got the intake port ready to go. The air cleaner is back on. We've connected everything up. I've got the clamps on both ends. Everything's tied back together. The seal on my water bottle where the motor goes into the container broke, so I can't put that back in. That doesn't matter because we have a snorkel.